display size. First up, we have the size. Let's be honest, Apple's naming scheme hasn't really been the easiest to understand, and when it came to pronunciation, the XS Max suffered. Was it XS or was it XS? We'll never know. This year, Apple has decided to make it even more confusing. There's rumored to be a new size option in the iPhone 14 lineup called the iPhone 14 Max. It's going to be the same display size as the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but without any of the Pro capabilities. This one is for the people that wanted the larger display size of the Pro version, but weren't willing to shell out an extra $200 to $300 for it. The iPhone 14 will have inferior hardware, but as we've seen with the iPhone 13 mini, Apple does a pretty good job of optimizing the phone, even if its hardware isn't bleeding edge. The updated line would then consist of the iPhone 14, the iPhone 14 Pro, iPhone 14 Max, and finally, the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The exact display size is rumored to be 6.7 inches for the iPhone 14 Max and iPhone 14 Pro Max, and 6.1 inches for the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro, according to Mac Rumors. Talking about the Mini, this would be a good time to mention that there's not going to be a Mini version anymore. Yes, you heard that right. The iPhone 14 lineup is not going to have the Mini version. This is because of bad sales with the previous Mini versions. Although the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 13 mini were the best deals that Apple offered, they both had surprisingly bad sales, and now Apple has just decided to discontinue it. Next up, we've got the much-awaited camera redesign. Front-facing camera redesign. The iPhone notch is cool, said no one ever. Sure, it was a revolutionary step when the iPhone X was released, but since then there has been no major change in the design for the last 3 generations. The only difference has been a slight decrease in the size of the notch, but apart from that, there hasn't really been any improvement in this area. Androids, on the other hand, have explored everything from pop-up selfie cameras, revolving cameras, screen cutouts, and even under-display ones. Sure, you can say that Apple doesn't try wild and wacky ideas, but even still, we should have seen some improvements in the design by now. It seems like 2022 might just be the year we get to see that, as it's being rumored that Apple is going to go with a hole-punch camera design this year. Let us know down in the comments which design you're into. Should Apple stick with the notch, or is the hole punch the way to go? Coming back to the topic, regarding how Apple is going to get rid of the notch without getting rid of Face ID, according to Mark Gurman's Power On newsletter for Bloomberg, Apple is working on improving Face ID so that the sensors can be placed under the screen. As for the camera, that is still going to be a screen cutout, since, let's be honest, the under-display ones offer an irredeemable decrease in camera quality, and the technology just isn't mature enough for mainstream phones right now. If you were one of the people that were hoping that Apple might bring back Touch ID with under-display fingerprint sensors, I'm afraid that's not going to happen, at least not in the iPhone 14 lineup. This is because optical under-display scanners aren't fully secure, and the supersonic ones are a bit slow, as we've already seen with the Samsung S21 Ultra, which, despite a high-end chipset, has a significantly slow fingerprint sensor. Back redesign. The front camera isn't the only thing getting a redesign. The iPhone 14 is also getting a back redesign. If you've seen the latest S22 leaks, you know that Samsung